Okay, we're here. We're doing it. How's it going, Goose Fat? Oh my goodness. Buttons. I know how to press buttons. This is the wrong button to press. What is going on with the hair? It is not doing the right thing. I need a haircut. What the heck? Oh my goodness. Feeling a little stressed. Too much setup. Also, I installed Stream Elements and now everything looks different. And it's freaking me out. Okay. We're here. How are we doing? Okay, so day 3 of our zombie FPS. So far things are going well. We got the spawning happening randomly, and we've got health, and we have a win and a lose state. So realistically now we need to create more enemies, and we probably need some wave logic as well, because right now there is, I mean, they just go for like 30 seconds and then that's it, you win. Essentially, there's a couple of polishing things. Yeah, I need to work on the enemies, I think, is what we're going to do today. So, let's get amongst it. I can't see my stream manager. So annoying. Why not? Stream manager. Okay, there it is. Okie dokie. Okay. We can breathe. Alright. Let's go to the desktop. Not that desktop. This desktop. Something feels off tonight. I don't know what it is, but something just feels weird. Okie dokie. Alright. So let's just sort of refresh our memories and see where things are. We've got enemies spawning all over the shop. They're just going to walk towards me, and that's it. They'll just start throwing knives. And they're going all over the shop, but I'm taking damage because they're spawning behind me. I need to look at that, and they probably have a little bit too much health, or I'm not doing enough damage. Call it what you will, because I cannot dispose of all these zombies. I'm out of ammo. The bullet. Grab the health. Grab the shotgun. Well, this gun does no damage. I'm pretty sure it does 1. So yeah, I need to like work on balancing that, because right now I'm just going to be taking a lot of damage from all of these zombies, which is really unpleasant. And now we're reloading. Okay, so the first thing I'm thinking about is either the enemies have too much health or we don't do enough damage. It's really one of the two. So I think the enemies have just a flat 100, right? So I think that's okay. They definitely don't do 50 damage. They do more like 5. So I'm going to change that to 5 because that's what I set it to here. And it feels good for the amount of zombies that we've got. Like that's actually probably good. We don't want to have too many more than that. So we are going to probably look at the damage that each weapon does, because they were set up for the template, and obviously we want to be able to do 100 damage. So if I go to the player character and I go to, actually, I mean, I don't really even need to go, I just need to look for the weapons folder in the, what's it called? The file system, which you guys can't see because I'm sitting in front of. I think it makes the most sense for it to be here because in terms of like where I sit, because like who cares about the file? The file system, scripts, spawnable weapons. We want under scripts, under weapon state machine. We want to go to weapon resources, and these are all the weapon resources. I haven't changed their names, which is kind of annoying. So the rifle does 10 damage, and to be honest, it feels kind of weak. But I don't know if it's like a balancing thing, because it's 10 bullets to kill a zombie, and if we're spawning quite a few zombies in the... Okay, so maybe it's not really a matter of how many zombies that we're spawning. Maybe it's a question of how many zombies we're spawning, rather than a question of how much damage we do. Because if I look at the enemy spawner, I've got spawn locations. I can actually remove that now. I've got a wave timer and a spawn timer, and the spawn speed is 1 second. So we're basically spawning 30 enemies each wave. So that's probably too much for the first wave. So I probably need to think of like, if I think I've got wave number, right? And there's like a count that goes up, you know, every single time we survive a wave. So just make it like 0. And we increment that, but also increase the amount of zombies that spawn each wave. So right now it's obviously way too high. So we could just make it maybe 5. How many is that? It's 6, right? So we spawn 6 enemies, and then we just subtract, but then eventually it's going to be negative. We could make it a division. We could just halve it every time, right? That would be easy. Or we could divide it by the number of waves. It's going to get a lot faster, a lot quicker. I wonder how other games do it. It's a bit difficult. I think I can remove this. The spawn locations, I don't need this anymore. So let's just clean that up. I don't think that's going to cause any issues, because now we're doing it totally randomly. The other thing I wanted to look at while I get a little bit distracted is the location of, right, because I'm not using the navigation, right? What is going on there? Do I just have like a hole in the level? I do. That's funny. Okay, well I can fix that, I think. Edit the Z? No. Well, what buttons? I do this, and then I press this a bunch of times. It's so annoying to work with. Why is it so far away? I hate working with the grid map. I'll be honest with you. Like, it just does not do what it's supposed to do very well. Come over here, you piece of crap. Oh my god. One more. Thank you. And then we highlight this. And then we can press Control F and it'll fill it. And I filled it with dirt, and it's supposed to be wall. Control F. Okay, cool. Mr. Forgettable, hello. You ran out of ice cream. You need more then. What are we doing? Let's do an ice cream run. How could we possibly live without it? How's the music on your end? Is it alright? Okay, so now I fixed the world up, and we don't need a spawner, but I do have a problem where they can spawn on top of this. So I'm thinking about in the calculation for finding a valid point, I'm just testing to see if the point on the grid map has anything above it, right? Because then it's a place where you could stand, right? Because if it's like underneath or above, that would be a problem. But we also want to know that it's not like way too far up. Something like that. I've got to think of a way that we can fix that, but we'll leave that for later. Let's sort of think about how we can balance this. So right now, when the wave timer times out, it just prints out winner. We want to increment the wave, right? We want to increase the number of waves so that we know and we can increase the difficulty and potentially the spawn, like the kind of things that spawn. So realistically, if we want this to be infinite, I suppose, I don't really see a reason for it to, I don't see a reason for it to have an endpoint. You just keep going until you get overrun by zombies. Or like, I don't know, maybe there's a boss at the end. I'll have to think about what actually happens there. But for now, let's just increment that wave number. We can also display that. So plus equals 1, right? And then I think there's not really any, so if I think, the enemies should just keep spawning because there's not really anything that stops them. So I am going to stop the timer and I'm going to create a timer and start next wave, right? Or make it survival until sunrise. Yeah, there's got to be some kind of objective at some point. We'll think about it later. we'll worry about that. But yeah, I think I like infinite, but I also I kind of like the idea. It just depends on like how much time we have. It's 2 weeks, right? I should have plenty of time if I'm working on it like 3 days a week. That's enough to make something good. Start next wave. So we are going to take the wave number. We just call it number. And it's an int. And it doesn't return anything. And so the spawn speed is what's going to manipulate, right? So the spawn speed is just going to get... right now, I don't really know what's best. So I'm going to go spawn speed equals spawn speed divided by 2. That's spawn enemy. Right, we're just going to halve it each wave. For now, we might think of something. Sorry, not halve it. We're going to divide it by the number of waves. So it's going to get very, very fast. Very quickly. And then we are going to start the wave timer. And start the spawn timer, right? So let me think about the flow of the code. I've kind of forgotten. Hey, Goosefat, how are ya? I saw you writing on 27, but I still haven't figured out how to add that account back to the chat. I can see it in Twitch, but I can't see it in my OBS overlay. Yes, that is a very tiny font. It even shows up like that on Restream. Okay, so let's go. Spawn enemy, start wave, wave timer start. And then when does the spawn wave timer start? So on the ready, we start the wave timer and we spawn an enemy. And the enemy starts the spawn timer. And then that says that. So if I'm going to start a wave, realistically, wave timer start. Do I call that anywhere? No, I haven't. So it's going to be wave timer start. I probably, it's so crazy. So this code is kind of cooked. and then spawn enemy. We have like a function. I remember when I was writing this code, I was like creating a lot of functions for things I thought I would need, but then obviously I forgot that I had started. I had written that function, start wave. And so now we can not spawn enemy. Actually on spawn timer, spawn out, spawn enemy is what we want to do. On start next wave, we can set the spawn speed to be something, and then we can just start the wave. Echidna is my favorite animal. Is it really? I don't like echidnas that much. Not because I think they're like bad animals, but they're so stubborn. Like I remember when I was a kid, we found one in the middle of the road. Like we had I don't know, I don't want to call it like a holiday home because it was literally just a shed in the bush. A shed in the bush. And we found an echidna in the dirt road, and we had to try and move it because obviously it's in the road, but it like burrowed in and refused to move, and we were trying to dig underneath it, and it was so frustrating. And then a few years ago, I was living out in the bush a little bit, and there was one on the road, and it was just like, it didn't want to get off the road, man. It's like it wanted to die. I don't know. They're just like, they're very cute, but they're very stubborn. So those are my two echidna stories. What if you set a 5-minute timer for the next wave and spawn zombies even if there are zombies from the current wave? But how would I like know what? Wait, like, so if we like a 5-minute timer for the next wave, I guess like you could do that, right? Like you could have like a collection cycle. So it's like, oh, I've got 5 minutes until the next wave. I need to go find weapons. I need to go find like whatever. But yeah, it is probably makes it more difficult for me to make. At the same time, I want to leverage the weapons as upgrades because I know I'm not going to have time to create like a robust upgrade system. So like giving the player new weapons makes it way easier because I know I already have them. And we can improve things like movement speed. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Balancing the game will be hard. Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a challenge. Alrighty. So spawn speed, number, start wave. So now we have infinite waves. We are going to be spawning 6 enemies. Is my math right there? It's not that many. Is that music too loud? Okay. Alrighty. Let's give it a bit of a run. I probably also need to have a delay on like the first enemy because that's a little bit too much. He's all the way over there. He's not going to make it. So right now it's not too difficult to work against. I think I took one. I'm also going to need to have feedback on the... oh, I'm out of ammo. Ugh, such a useless weapon. Okay, did I make it to the next one? I don't think I actually... You know what? I think I got distracted and forgot to actually call this. Create... So stupid. Create... no, get... get tree dot create timer. And how long time between wave? Like, let's just make it 5 seconds for now. Time between wave. This is equals let's just make it 5 seconds for now. We can make it longer or shorter, just try to build something. And dot timeout dot connect, and we'll just pass in that callable, and we'll bind the wave number. The gun looks interesting. Which gun are you talking about? The AK or the revolver? Oh shit! Fuck off. This weapon's really weak. I need to like look at that. It literally. Oh, they have like 100 health, and this does 1 damage. What do I mean when I create a template? It's because I'm working with an FPS template. So, oh fuck. My template sort of like works with weapons a certain kind of way, and I've sort of hacked it to just like so that it took the sprites as is. Mitch Wormy. Oh, he Mitch Wormy. Twitch can't see you, but that is funny. Goose Fat, someone's calling out to you. Can YouTube use tiny font? And he has answered yes. That will be the connection between you two. I really wish I could display all of them. Actually, you know what? Like, I probably could, you know, because it's against Twitch terms of service. If I just like turn off, if I turn off like where it's coming from, maybe they won't know, and I can get away with it. I don't want to get banned though, so I guess it is what it is. Okay, so I want feedback on the wave, and I'm starting to regret putting some of this information. I got the health bar. So the game over screen is on the player. I'm changing my mind on that. I'm going to need to have like a game. I'm going to need a game UI. So I'm going to add a canvas layer because I want to know what wave I'm on. And probably to bring that over, game over screen is pretty simple in terms of script, right? It just says hide. We can emit a signal to that's fine. I'm going to save this branch as a scene. Objects, I'm going to create a folder called menu. I'm going to save that. Oh, come on. Mr. Forgettable, you don't know what a canvas layer is? Surely. A canvas layer is, sorry, that was a bit mean. Basically, it will always be on top. So that's where you put your UI. And that's probably a very basic canvas layer. What do the docs call it? A node used for independent rendering of objects within a 2D scene. Okay, you're still new. That's okay. Sorry about that. I hate it. My friends used to do that to me all the time, and I just did it, and I felt really bad. Not with programming, but with music. I used to be like, oh, because like, I don't know, my parents never listened to music, so I didn't know any old music. And so they'd play something old, and they'd be like, what? You don't know what this is? And I'd get really mad. Mr. Forgettable, can I eat you? Drive nodes that are direct or indirect children of canvas layers will be drawn at that layer. The layer is a numeric index that draws the ordered default 2D scene, renders at 0. The canvas layer is at index -1. So yeah, it allows you to draw on top of everything. Hello, Slacks, how are you? What is happening? Okay, so now that we've got the canvas layer, I don't really need to add a control to it. I do want to add that scene that I just saved though. Yeah, it's really good for UI. I basically use it for UI pretty much exclusively, but Like, there are other things that you might use it for, but for me, it's just UI. Where is this thing that I saved? It's not in the player controller, it's in objects, menus, game over screen. Bring that over. And we'll make it visible so that we can see what it looks like. Oh, it's funny, you can see the game world. I don't think I need this sub viewport. I'm going to delete it. So the game over scene was on the player controller. So now I just need to go back to the player controller. And NPC message box? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people would use a canvas layer for that. Unless they're displaying it in world, then maybe you wouldn't. But for the most part, yeah. Show player died. Okay, so I'm going to need to create a signal all the way at the top of the script. And on player died. I don't need to omit any information, I don't think. No, I don't. So rather than calling out to the game over screen, we can just say on player died dot omit. Use tiny font. I actually can't read that now. It's too small for my old eyes. Don't say anything profane. Okay, so I also need to remove the reference to that game over screen here. Okay, so that should be fixed. On the ready, I need to connect it to the game controller. So I did have an auto load. I don't know where it's saved, the game state manager. So it's got a reset level. So I can create a func on player died. And it'll just be a void. And all it's going to do is broadcast that signal. Laptops kind of suck for batteries. I mean, I haven't used a laptop in a really long time, but I assume nothing much has changed in the last 10 years. I've got a laptop for work, but it just stays on charge all the time. I would hate to take it off. Probably wouldn't last a second. So I just need to create a signal on player died. It's going to shadow, so I shouldn't do that. Underscore. And then we're just going to emit that, right? And what we're going to do is in the player, where you're going to connect, you get 1 hour of battery life. That's not great. So we're going to go game state manager dot on player died. No, actually, this naming might be a bit confusing. No, I'm doing this backwards. I need to connect the function. My bad. That's for the other thing. I want to go on player died. Harry, Dick, Road, Douglas. Okay, I'm so confused about what you guys are doing. Is Mitchy Worm Goose Fat? It's the same person. I've decided. Connect. Also, you shouldn't just put your address in chat like that. That's weird. Okay, on player died, connect game state manager on player died. That's what I wanted to do, and get rid of those last bits there. Okay, and then for the game over screen, we want to go game state manager dot underscore on player died dot connect, and we will connect this function here. So in theory, that should all work. What are you going to do? Send free stuff to his house? I'm not going to send anything to anybody. All right. So we've got that going. So let's make the enemies do a bit more damage and just make sure that works. I'm going to bump their damage up to 50 again, so I just take 2 hits to die. Where is he? He's over there. 1, 2, okay. Everything works as is. Great. Alrighty, okay, so that works. And we are going to... What are we going to do now that that works? Oh, right. I totally forgot where I was at. All right, so next we're going to add a wave counter, essentially. So this just is going to be the HUD, right? So I suppose we can just display it in the middle of the screen right now. We don't really have a lot else going on, so I will create a HBox container, and it will be just strip across the top like that, and then it will just be a label that says wave 0, and it will be centered, and that will be centered. Okay, cool. Well, that is some chests. I have no idea what's going on in the chat right now. Okay. Alrighty. So now we can emit a signal. And I'll probably need to do this in the game state manager. I imagine... Man, we can just... Update wave. Also, you live on Harry Dick Road. Maybe it's a trick to try and get people to read it out and make it sound like they're saying something else. I don't know. Update wave. Number. And this will actually have a wave number as an int. We'll create a function, and it will just be called on update wave number. And it's going to take a wave number, and we're just going to pass that on. So if I decide to change the structure of the UI, it's not going to be too much of a problem. And this will just update the signal on wave. Wrong. Should be called on. I'm presuming someone is trying to troll me. Yes. You don't think so? Okay. I don't need to connect it. I need to admit it. All right. So now we've done that. Back in the world, we can go to the enemy spawner, and on the ready function, we're going to create a signal called update wave number. And we will connect that signal. Forget the update. We will update. Connect that to Game State Manager, and it will be called on update wave. No. I'm doing it wrong again. This is my first time doing something like this. I've known about this pattern for a while, but I've never tried it before. So on the wave timer timeout, I actually don't need a signal here. I don't think. We could just call Game State Manager. Like, we could just skip that and just go Game State Manager dot on update wave number, and then pass in the wave number, right? Are you asking me, Mr. Forgettable? I don't want to tell you. You are asking me, Mr. Forgettable, how tall am I? I'm what you would call a short king, unfortunately. But I'm not that. I mean, okay. I am 171 centimeters tall. At least I think that's what it says on my license. Okay, so on that, so now the wave label can have a script. Objects world wave level, that's fine. I knew I was like, I don't want to give you that in feet. I'm going to give you that in the true units. Update label. I never really considered myself short until like the internet, and then like I guess people started talking about it more. Like if you go on Instagram, people talk about it all the time, or maybe it's just the algorithm or whatever. And then now I know. I just thought I was normal. But I'm not. I'm below average for sure. Oh wow, face of me. Was like the average height in Australia. 5'7", yeah. Australia for men, right? And it's 175. So I'm a little bit below average. So 5'9" would be normal. To be honest, I don't think it's that much of a difference. Like, it when you go 5'7" to 5'9", it sounds like a lot, but it's like literally 4 centimeters or 4.5 centimeters. That's like, it's nothing. So I don't know what people are talking about. Don't worry, my wife likes to remind me all the time. Okay, so update label. It's going to take the wave number, so it'll just be set text to be wave space and then plus str wave number. Okay, and then we want to go game state manager dot connect on game state manager dot on wave number dot connect, and update label is the callable. Okay, So now we should be able to see what the wave number is. It's always going to be 0 to begin with, so that's fine. Let's just kill these zombies. Oh, he just appeared behind me. That's so dog. Oh, they do a lot of damage too. Better stay on top of them. There he is. Where is the baddie? Okay, oh there. Man, a minute feels like such a long time. No, it's not even a minute, it's 30 seconds. Or is it just never going to update? Because I've done bad code. I really need to make the bullet locations disappear as well. There's one stuck over there. Okay, I'm convinced there's a problem now. Okay, so I've got some printouts that I want to fix up. Why do women online prioritize the height of men if we talk about weight? Yeah, I mean, it's different. Because I don't think it really matters in the end. I know plenty of people who are short. Like, it's just something people like to say, I think, to make fun. Or like, as a... I mean, it's kind of like negging, but for women, I guess. I don't know. I actually don't think it matters. I'm walking proof of that. Yeah. At the end of the day, you just got to be funny. Be fun. Or like... I don't know. You just got to have like a cool personality. Zombies throwing knives is a bit unnatural. Make them barf on you. Yeah, there's other ones that do that. For sure. This one just happens to throw a knife. I got lucky. Because my enemy, by default, threw... it shot like just a round ball. And so like I just picked one that also fired a projectile. I'll add more in a bit. Alright, so... let's get to it. Why? Okay, number one, the spawn timer. I need more information, and I'm also printing out stuff when I'm picking up weapons, which is kind of annoying. So I want to address that. All right. It's not here, so it must be in the weapon manager. Zombie, a game about you? Yeah, why not? Drop? No, I want pickup. Where am I printing out the object? It's got to be somewhere around here. Something somewhere is printing that out. And it's only when I walk over them. Oh, you know what it is? It's the new pickup manager that I made. Pickup detection. There it is. This is such jank code. I guess if it works, right? Okay, so now that we've done that, I wanted to think about the waves because they're bothering me. Wave number one. Let's make the waves shorter so I can just see them count up a bit more. Let's just make it 5 seconds for the sake of whatever. I just want to make sure that number's actually counting up. And I suppose while I'm here, I should add like a timer, right? Like we've got the wave and then you probably want to know like wave ends, right? When the wave ends. So I can add a label, wave time left, I guess. We'll put a script on that. Create. Okay, so now, well, okay, let's just make sure this is working. I'm getting ahead of myself. Wave time 5 seconds. And so when that is up, we're going to update the wave number and then create a timer and start next wave. Time between wave is 5 seconds, right? I don't know. This number should go up. It's been 5 seconds. Oh, I'm going to die before I even get to the next. It's not counting up for sure. It's been way more than 5 seconds. What's in the debugger? Local function parameter health is showing that. Update wave timer, error calling signal on update wave timer. Callable label, blah, blah, blah. Okay. It is expecting to pass on the wave number. That's why that didn't work. Now I know. Hello? Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, it's working. What gets refreshed more? Physics process or process? It depends on your frame rate, right? Because physics process is frame dependent when process isn't. So if you had more frames than 60, I'm pretty sure. Delta, right? If I go here, can process scene tree. Nice zombie. Yeah. It's, yeah, the art for this particular game jam is pretty good. How can I find out the process? Is processing process. Okay, called during the processing step of the main loop. Processing happens at every frame as fast as possible, so the delta time is not constant. Delta is in seconds. It is only called if processing is enabled, which is done automatically. Corresponds to the notification, object notification. I mean, that's not particularly clear. Physics process. Called during the physics processing step means that the frame rate is synced to the physics. The delta should be constant and the delta is in seconds. Okay, so the delta is, so this one isn't frame rate dependent. The other one is. So process is called every frame, but physics process is in sync with the physics so that you can process, excuse me. So it just depends what you're doing to whether or not you use physics process or process. Most things are fine in the process function. Like, you can just use that. But if you're trying to do something with physics, then you should use the physics process function. Or if you want it to be in sync with the, like, all that kind of, like, timers and stuff, like, I guess, I don't know. I'm not the best. I'm not an expert on that one. Okay, so now I wanted to know how much time was left in the wave. So, I mean, it's really up to you. It just depends on the project. Update label. Update wave timer label. This one's going to get called a lot. Time remaining. It's float actually. Void. Okay, so what we need to do. My phone's going off, excuse me. No, it's nothing. It's the boys. I want to know what to use for more optimized gameplay. Well, it's really not going to matter between like physics and physics process and process, because you want to, realistically, you want to use the one that's more appropriate for what you're trying to do. It's not really going to influence performance unless you're doing something you're not supposed to do in process or physics process and vice versa. But like, generally speaking, like the things that you want to process in there, you're going to need to like do every frame. Generally speaking, like I try to only do things every frame when I mean to do them every frame. So a lot of what I'm calling is in the input. I'm not polling, which is just like continuously checking for input. I'm calling the input function, which gets called when you do an input. And in the process, which is right down here in the physics process, all I'm checking to do is to see if the sprint comes back, like, because I have to continuously check for that. Lean collision, because I don't get a choice, because raycasts need to be done in the physics process. And same with crouching. Like a lot of the stuff that I'm doing in the physics process is to do with finding out what's around the player. So it goes like, if you're crouched and there's something above you, I want to know about it. If you're wanting to try and lean and there's something beside you, I need to know about it. If you're not on the floor, you need to be falling. And then realistically, we're checking for jump, but really that could be moved to input, to be honest. And then I'm calculating the speed and then moving. That's literally it. So it's mostly to do with movement. Everything else is getting done in the input, right? Because that's where because this is the player, right? Everything, where is it? Input. So, checking whether or not we need to lean, if we need to crouch, if we need to exit the sprint, all that kind of stuff doesn't need to be checked every frame. To be honest, none of this stuff would matter. It wouldn't affect performance all that much. Like, it's negligible. I guess it just depends on the platform. Like you said, mobile. Like if you're trying to do something, it might start to matter, but I doubt it until you're like, starting to spawn a lot of things or something like that. I don't know. You never know until you try to do it. So it's like, you're just going to make a game. Yeah, you shouldn't lose your mind on it. I agree, Mr. Forgettable. You just make a game. And then if it needs to be like smoothed out, then you need to smooth it out. Dude, hang on a second. I got to get up. Charge something. It's running out of batteries. Okay, I'm back. I have so little space behind me and the green screen because it's so small. It's like really hard to get out of my chair because I can't push it back, otherwise I'll knock it over, which would be like really embarrassing, I think. Alrighty, so let's get amongst it. Wave timer. That's what we're doing. Time between waves, wave time. So let's just bump this back up to 30 seconds. Okay. So, okay, we just need a new game state manager function. And update wave time remaining and time remaining. Int void. And it's just going to emit the signal. We call it the exact same thing because I'm lazy, but put an underscore in front. And it's going to emit time remaining. So now I go like this, I go like this, I go emit time remaining. Awesome. And in the world, we go enemy spawner, Now this will actually need to be called. Is there a signal that I can? No, there's not. So I'm going to have to continuously check. So this is going to have to happen. What process is it? Inherit? Process, it's idle callback. Process callback? Okay, processing callback. See timer process callback. Timer process physics. Update the timer during the physics frame. Timer process idle. Update the idle timer during the process frame. So I guess if it's idle, I need to use func process. And go game state manager just on on update time remaining wave timer dot time left. Okay, so now we get how much time is remaining every frame, and way down here we're gonna go dot on timer remaining dot connect, and it's the callable update wave timer. All right. I forgot something in the setup. Oh no, it should be okay. I'm passing that in. The other one, I didn't bind that. Start next wave. Okay. I think it'll be okay. So now in this one, we're going to receive a time remaining. So we want to update the label. So set text, and it will be time remaining. Probably capitalize that. Oh, actually, wave ends. Right. And then we're going to go add, and it's going to be snapped. And it's an X at the variant, which is time remaining. I forget how to use this function. Step. I think it needs to be 0.0 maybe. And that actually needs to be wrapped in str for this to work. Snapped. Okay, so we can round up 0.01 is what I would need if I wanted to do that. Time left. Like that. Okay. Wave ends. Well, I mean, it's okay if it's just in seconds, right? Or does it create more tension if it's like... I thought it would be... Hang on, does that... Huh. Not changing anything. Weird. What happens if I'm... Is time left always a round number? Starts the timer, sets the wait time. No, wait, what? Get the timers remaining in seconds, right? The wait time in seconds. I swear I've done this before and it's been like in like really small increments, right? Dot time left. Yeah, it should be like... What if I'm not calling snapped? It's because I've made it an int. That's probably what it is. So I've stuffed up. If I go to this, I said that it's an int. It really needs to be a float. And same in the... I've made it a float there, so that's okay. And then I can go back to saying this should be 0.1. Yeah, there we go. And that looks a bit funky. What if I made it like even longer? that's really not very nice to look at. Okay. So silly. I kind of like the idea, but I probably need to work on its positioning. If I go to 2D, this says wave ends. That, and then it goes 0, 0, 0. So it should be right, but the hbox container needs to expand. What's the left to right? Well, I'm just going to set some separation so that they're a little bit further apart. Still jiggles around like crazy. There's got to be a way I can fix that. I don't know. Some old guy died at the park today. What the hell, bro? That sounds really traumatic. I hope you weren't the person that found it. Found that poor guy. If I add a space at the end, does it help? Probably not, right? Like, why would it? You know what? The problem is that it's not always 0.00. Right? So on when it's like got a single game over already. What I really want to do is make it so that it's always 3 digits long. So I probably need to figure out how that works. Let's have a look at Snapped, see what it tells me. For better type safety, assignments, yada yada yada. Supported types returns the same variant type as X with -1 for negative value, 0 for zeros. Supported types. I'm looking at Sign. I'm not looking at Snapped. Why does it not ever take me to like the thing that I want to read about? It's so annoying. Returns the multiple of the step that's close to X. This can be used to round a floating point number to an arbitrary number of decimals. The return value is the same type. It's the same type of variant as step. Supported types, yada yada yada. Seal, floor, and round. Maybe I can use floor. Round downwards towards negative infinity. What should I do here? Sometimes, I suppose, where is the time text? The guy who wrote all of that is such a big I mean, you rely on people like that to tell you how all this stuff works. Honestly, I could never. Like, I wrote a documentation for my template and it was like pulling teeth. I hated every second of it. It was a nightmare. And then I made a plugin and then I realized that I needed to write documentation for that. It sucks, man. So we love our document writing people. So we're going to take this and put it there. And what I can do is I can probably test to see the length of that. So I can go len and time text, right? And then I can test it to see if it's not like the number of decimal places that I'm expecting. You don't understand 90% of it, but over time you will, right? So the more you use the engine and the more you read the docs, the better you become at understanding what they're telling you. And then you'll be able to use the documentation to learn about things like snapped and figure out like how it's supposed to work, what it's telling you. The variant, like the Godot built-in explanation thing. Yeah, I use it all the time. It's my favorite tool, honestly. Like without that, like, I mean, I've tried using some of the other engines like Unity and Unreal and some other open source ones. And by far Godot's implementation of the documentation within the engine is so good. If you know what you're looking for, you very rarely have to venture out of Godot to find it. And then the fact that you can just click anything and then just see a really good explanation, like, I really appreciate how these are written. I think they're very helpful. It's rare, like I look at documentation for other things occasionally, and it's rare that I'll find something as good as this. It's very well written, and it's easy to understand, which is the main thing. Like, that's really important. Okay, so I'm making this look good. Why am I spending time on this? This is so dumb. If time text, how many decimal places do we want? We want 3, right? So if it's 3 decimal places and then 2, actually gonna be harder than I think. It needs to be 5, right? So if time left is less than .len, is less than 5, then we need to go time left time text equals time text plus I'm so dumb with strings, eh? It's realizing people can do anything, but they don't want to since they're lazy. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. A lot of what, like, you can literally achieve anything you want in life. It's just a matter of putting in the time. Like, that's literally it. So we want to add a 0 there, but how many zeros? I don't know. Is there a way that I can figure out? Can you multiply it like a 0? I think it's going to be like, I don't know how to multiply strings. I'm kind of dumb. What the hell is this music? Next. I'll to do make this better. I gotta move on from this. It's kind of dumb to be working on it all the time. And it really needs to be. I mean, it works well for these, but yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll improve it later. Okay, moving on. I'm actually very annoyed at it right now. let's just comment this out. Damn it all, who cares? That's much easier to deal with. Okay, so we've got a wave, we're spawning enemies, and how to make game good? That is the question now, because we've got the main loop. We've got, so we really need different enemies. Let's do different enemies. That's what we need. We need more enemy types, and we need there to be like greater different kinds of enemies from different waves. The top 1% of guys in the field are the people who are not lazy. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like a lot of just becoming successful is like showing up, you know? But if you want to be a top 1%, then I have a bad habit of just putting in 80, because then you're better than most people. It doesn't do well for my career though. Cheap viewers on pound sign. Puke. What you saying? Cheap viewers. First time chat. Suspicious. Rolls on in. Yes. Okay. Player character. Enemies. We're focusing on it. I'm getting so distracted because I know this is going to be annoying. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is on this original enemy, we need to sync up the swing with when the actual weapon flies. How I do that, I'm not too sure. I've never worked with Sprite 3D. Animated Sprite 3D. Number rolls on in. Want to be more distracted? Of course. I'm always looking for ways to distract myself from doing actual work. I don't even have gravity defined on the enemy. So not necessary. Okay, so we have got the attack. Where is the attack? Hit successful? No. I'll throw the pixels I'm working on at you. Could you imagine if you could throw a pixel? What would that be like? Just reach into the screen and grab some? Just grab some pixels? Maybe one day. This thought has come to me so many times that not existing is better than suffering. I don't know why. That's a very depression-like thought. I disagree. I understand the sentiment, and I don't know if you have thoughts like that and they're intrusive, then you should speak to someone, because there's existing is always better. That's all I'll say. You're fine. That's good to hear. Okay, so play attack. Here we go. So on shoot time or timeout, if there's a player, we're gonna instantiate a bullet and play the attack. Now, we're playing the attack. The attack is a frame of this dude throwing a knife. So realistically, we need to play the attack and then instantiate the bullet. It shouldn't be this way. Otherwise, it's going to get out of sync. So I probably need to play it. I'm assuming in the Sprite 3D, there's probably a signal for animation finished. Properties, methods, signals, animation changed, animation finished. Great. So, Risey, how's it going? Sprite 3D dot animation finished. I don't know if that's right, but let's see. Where are you, mate? come here. I don't think he's throwing anything. No, they're definitely not spawning the weapons. So. Okay, I'll just have to do this the old-fashioned way, which is connect the signal. Animation finished. Connect. Slacks, how are you? I think I've already said that to you, but welcome. Anyway. Okay, so we're just going to play, and then I'll create a new function. Shoot. I don't know if that's been used yet. See, the thing is, I don't know if this is ever going to get called, because I'm continuously calling that on shoot timer timeout. Okay, so let's just, well, number one, we need to call shoot. And number two, I want to print out to see if this is actually getting called. What's going on in the debug? Is navigation finished? Got some problems here, but we'll look at them later. Got a work meeting in about 10 minutes. Sounds stressful. Yeah, that's not getting cold. Okay. Animation, copy frame, insert empty, frame duration, time X. Frame changed, sprite frame changed. I wonder what I can do. I might need to just switch to a sprite and then an animation player, because I'm not getting what I want out of this. And I know for sure that I could get it from a sprite. So that might need to be what I do if animation finished is not getting called, because on shoot timer timeout really should be try await. Yeah, I did that first actually. I could just create a timer, like you know, I know how long the animation is going to be, wait this long, but then I'd have to set it for every single enemy that has like an animation that builds up towards an attack. In fact, I'm definitely going to need to change this to a sprite and an animation, because I guarantee you oh yeah, no problem. I guarantee you that I'm going to have sprites that I want to place the animation in a specific location, and I'm not going to be able to do this with Sprite 3D. It's just not going to animated Sprite 3D. So with this one, I get H frames and Z frame, V frames, but the issue that I've got, I think, with the asset pack is that the character, the sprite frames are individual. So I'm going to need to create a zombie attack number 4. I need to create a, what's it called? A tile set. So can I delete this macOS folder? That's really annoying me. Okay. Font, enemies, sprites updated, zombie 4. Oh, he does have sprite frames. Okay, great. That's really good. Okay, I just didn't find these last time. Okay. That's going to help me significantly. So let's just hide this for a second and drag this bad boy in. And so now we've got all of the frames in one. I think the top one is the walking, and the second one is... What are we doing here? And I need to change that to nearest, so that I actually can see what I'm looking at. You'll need to be a lot bigger too. I don't think numlock is on. No, it's not. Okay, so these two frames here, there's a lot of nothing, and then he holds up his arm and throws it. I only had 4 frames the last time. How is this laid out? Oh, there's the last frame there. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So how many? Oh, frick, this is going to be annoying. V frames. How many? There are 3. And how many? I thought I was going to sneeze. Do you think eggless and mayo and regular mayo are the same? Well, Mr. Forgettable, they're clearly different, but I don't really like them. Slacks, enjoy your time at work. Thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I think eggless mayo doesn't have eggs in it, right? What is it made of if it's not made from eggs, though? That's the ultimate question. Like, for real, though. Wrong made. Taste-wise, I don't know. I don't eat mayonnaise. Eggless mayonnaise is made from aquafaba. Aquafaba? Which is chickpeas and garbanzo bean water. Alright. Probably a bunch of chemicals. Well, apparently chickpeas and garbanzo, but I don't know what that is, so it could be chemicals. Without eggs is achieved. But how do they achieve the tangy taste? Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 H frames. Number pad's still not working. Okay. We're on frame 1. Wait, not. What? This. Oh, what? V frames are 3. What the hell? Okay, so we add that guy in. We can delete the old one. That's fine. We'll have to fix up that sprite 3D2. And so now we will have... Oh, it's scrolling. Stuffed up. What? 8 then? He's still moving. What have I done wrong? Okay, that's very strange. Let's open up a sprite and check this one out. Show phone. What the hell? Okay, so there's like an extra space here, for sure. What are they spaced at? It's definitely 4 as well. Man, sprite's kind of annoying. Like, I wouldn't even know how to export that as a single sprite. Now, if I scroll through it, is it behaving normally? It's not. Oh my god. I guess I'm making the assumption that this is like... Okay, so that's definitely 4. And this is starting to get away from the center. This definitely needs to be 8, but it still doesn't work like going through the frames, you know? Like he's moving it across. So there's definitely a problem with the frames in this tile set. I wonder if there's an easy way to compact it. Like realistically, not that much. This is the frame size, right? 64 by 80. Is there a way that I can just place them all up there nicely? They really don't need to be that far apart. I don't think there's anything on the edges that would necessitate this kind of spacing. Or am I missing something? Tile mode, symmetry options, set loop. Let's try to set up a grid so that we can sort of try and understand grid settings. Width. Definitely something like 80, 64. Right? Or was it the other way around? It was the other way around. View. Grid settings. 64 by 80. Yeah, we're hitting the mark with those. I think I just need to include an offset, right? This guy's a little bit off, but he's leaning back a bit. That might just be a part of the animation. So what's the offset then? It's 2, right? So it's 2 here. What are these? 32. And on top, it's quite a lot. It's 3, so 48. Frame, view, grid settings, X 32, Y 48. Okay, and now they're framed up properly, but the next ones down aren't, which is a problem. So that's probably why I'm running into issues there. But I can't see, like, I just think it's wrong. At the end of the day, like, this is not, there's something wrong here. Like, they're all on the, so you'd expect it to be up another 32, but if you went down 32 on this one, it would be cutting off here on their head, the same place, right? So these guys have to come up. I can't think of any other way. I'm gonna have to change it. Does that look right? It looks pretty good to me. Hang on a second. Yeah, I was one short pixel on that. So if I come up to there, then I'm good. And now these guys are framed properly. we still have spaces in between and all this kind of stuff, and it's just like, it's kind of shitty. And is it just because this guy has like a single pixel above his head? Like, I don't care, right? Okay, so these ones all seem grounded, but this one doesn't. So he's going to need to come down a fair bit. In fact, I've misjudged where his feet are, right? Because these guys are all, their feet are all in the bottom frame. Yeah, it's frustrating, isn't it? Is there a way to compact this stuff? Maybe I'm just missing something. I believe the size should be 128 by 128. Oh, Fan Studio, how are ya? Yeah? Maybe I'm just... I'll open another version of it. I can't get it to work, bro. Where is it? Here it is. Nope. I closed it already? Show in File Manager. Test. Okay. Let me bring the grid back. We pack these in Unity. Yeah, it's not like a U thing. It's just, it's a different system. So it's layers, right? I'm trying to work out what would work. I need them together though. That's the problem. I was using the individuals, but now I've worked out that I want my attack to happen on a particular frame. So like, the animated sprite 3D isn't good enough. Would you say 128 by 128? And make that 0. Yeah, it just happened that way. Ah, that looks a lot better. Okay, and then I do end up with a 3, and I do it. So it was 4, and so how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 4. 8 and 4. I do have it set up that way. Why is it not? See how he slides off to the right? Maybe if I turn off centered? Oh no, that's... I wonder why he does that. Because it looks good in A-Sprite. So now I'm thinking it's a Godot thing. Like, he's always in center. So I don't think this is a sprite problem. So now I could have just made the region. To be honest, it's not that bad. Flip H, flip Y, modulate, pixel size, Z axis. Yeah, I don't think so. The resolution's so small. Oh, I see. I see. Now there's a lot of blank frames, but that's okay. So this isn't actually, this is like, he's like cutting his head open. That's freaking sick. And there's a tile set for the walk. I might still need to combine all of these because what I need it to do is like work in a single sprite with an animation player. So that's still what I'm going to need to do. At least I know the size now. so I can just like bring in all of the other, the death animation and the walk animation. Open in File Manager. Go there. Okay, great. Trying to make sure that I don't throw them off center. Okay, so that's walk. And there's also zombie for death and zombie for crawl. Dude, that's cool. Okay. We have space for that here. For sure. Can we see the grid though? Can the grid be set up? MSFT Devil says, hey, I say hey back. How's it going? I'm going pretty good. We're just making a tile set. Grid settings, it needs to be 128. Okay, let's compact these a little bit. We need this one to go over here. And take this one and put it, it's just going to show back up in the same spot. These look exactly the same, so I'm not too worried about. Once it hits the ground, it's probably fine. Yeah, I might just take the 4. Should be right. Yeah, we're getting there. I need to make better enemies, I think, at this point. Why do I need it in one single PNG? It's because it will make it easier to work with in the long run. That's literally it. So what it will allow me to do is it will allow me to use a single sprite and then go through each frame with an animation player, which will let me, number one, use the animation player, because the animation player in Godot is really powerful. It's easier for engines to handle sheets rather than single files. Yeah, I don't know about the other engines, but definitely for Godot, that's for sure. And then I'm going to change the canvas size of this. I'm going to reduce it down. I guess I'm just going to take, does this do math? 128? Yeah, it does. Sweet as. That works, right? And now we have it all in one frame, one thingo. Not that it matters in this scale. No, yeah, it's like, it doesn't, it's like, yeah. Optimization, yeah. I'm pretty sure like you could just be, if you were making a 2D pixel art game, you could probably be as unoptimized as possible, unless you were like spawning a lot of physics objects. I don't think you could get away with a lot, that's for sure. Export a sprite sheet. I could pack it, that's cool. Doesn't change much. I didn't need to do all that kind of work. Mitch Wormy is still here posting wormies. What does that look like at YouTube? Zuma Boomer Tumor. Next step is to save this import sprite frames and clean up the re-export. Yeah, I suppose. Borders, border padding, nothing. I think I'm good. I can just export this as is. Output, zombie attack sheet. That works totally fine. Actually, it should just be called zombie 4 sheet. Cool. And now that should be a little bit easier to work with. Now that should be under attack extra. Okay. Whoa, he's... Oh, wait. Yeah, because I reduced the number of frames. So he's still sliding from side to side, but we'll... Oh, then he gets blown off. Dude, that actually looks sick when it's animated. Okay, then we got some blanks, and this is the walking one. So the walking one is 20... Yeah, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay. That's easy. Yeah, this looks sick. Okay, so now with the animation player, I can create a new animation, call it walk. 1 second, I guess, is fine. And then I can actually key that in. So the start frame is that. And then we go to the next one and we key 2, 4. Easy. And 0.5 seconds. I actually think 1 second is probably fine. That's 4 frames per second. I was doing 5 before. Does 4 even divide nicely into this? I'll just make it 0.8. Alright. Looping. Right? Looks awesome. And, well, I was going to say that. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's the walk animation. I really only had 2 animations before. I think the other one was called shoot, even though this guy throws. It's also 4 frames. There's a wind up that we can utilize. 0.8. Yeah, okay, this is going to work a lot better. Okay, mate. All right. Mr. Wormy. Mr. Wormy. I can't even see that on my YouTube chat. I don't know what's going on. I guess it doesn't. Dude ODS has strong. I'm just gonna block user on YouTube. Sorry, buddy. Okay. Let's get back to it. We gotta shoot. Which I think was actually at the start of this. So he pulls his little knife out, which is freaking hilarious. And I guess we'll start on this frame. All right, that's actually fine. And then it doesn't loop though. Cool. How does that compare with walk? Yeah, that's fine. All right, easy peasy. So let's jump into the script. And we originally had Sprite 3D, that is gone. We will need to get the new sprite, and we'll also need to get the animation player. The animation player now has, actually, what I can do, I want to see how you do this. Yeah, I'll show you. So something that I really like about the animation player, a lot of people talk about this, right? You can add a call method track. And so I can select the enemy, and now I can sync up. So where it says sprite 3D play, we actually need to go animation player dot play. And I believe it's lowercase w now. And there's another one here. And it's, oh, it was called attack. That makes more sense than shoot, but whatever, we'll roll with it. So now we play that animation and we can call the function shoot probably on this 4th frame. Like if we look at what it looks like, not in 3D, but in 2D, that's when he's let go of the knife. It's no longer in his hand. So we can go insert key and we can choose void shoot here at this point and it'll call that animation. Zombie. Okay, so let's see how he goes. Yeah, see how much better that looks? It's completely synced up. It's in the wrong spot, but we can fix that. So let's get into the animation and look at his arm there. Now it's going to be, see, this is the point here. This is the bullet point. The problem we're going to have is that that point is never going to be the same. We probably need to reset its location, to be honest. And then we'll bring it up a little bit. And we're going to struggle because if we make it, not on the X, but on the Z, yeah, see, this is where the issue is, right? Like if I push it out this way where it matches up with his arm, if he's facing this way, it's not going to spawn in the right spot. And if he's facing this way, it'll be on the wrong side of him. So I probably need to rotate. I did say your name. Yeah. Zombie, I said zombie. Now the enemy is rotating the face of player. So maybe I don't need to put this on a billboard, to be honest. Where is it? So if I disable that, and move the bullet point to be where I want it to be, which is right here, and the enemy actually has a rotation speed. Am I calling this? I am calling this. Smoothness. I imagine if I turn this down, it'll rotate even faster. Yeah, so he's rotating a bit slow. So we need to work on that for sure. But other than that, it looks good. So how can I make this faster? This is what happens when it's not your code. Is the lower number? That's what I don't know. Is it? It's definitely making him slower. So let's make this way higher. Okay, great. They're throwing in sync. I actually think it looks a lot better. That's a huge improvement already. Will this be free on GitHub? No, I think that would be like absolutely against the rules of the game jam because it's like potentially commercial. So, but all of the base code developer give it is going to be eventually like, you know how I do things, make them leave a blood trail. Yeah, I could do that. Everything that I've done so far will eventually be like the enemy is a template. The character player is a template that you can already get. The enemy will eventually be a template and it will have this code in it. So it will be out there eventually. The game itself won't be open source. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're rolling pretty good. Oh, I can share it, no worries. Oh, there you go. Fan Studio said it's okay. I guess if I don't win, I don't know. It's up to you, man. I'm not really out to disrespect the rules of anything. But yeah. Okay. I don't think I've ever shared the source code of a game that I made. I share a lot of source code, but I always strip it back so that there's no art involved, if that makes sense. Oh, crypto, cyber potato game dev. Thank you for the follow. Graphics only. Yeah, I get ya. People need to understand that they cannot use commercially. That's it. Oh yeah, so I could release it on like non-commercial. Hey, no problem, cyber potato game dev. Glad I could be helpful. Yeah, so, and I agree, fans to do, like normally all the stuff that I put out as open source, I strip. You know, I'll take all the graphics out and make sure that it's using, what are they called? CC0 assets. I'll replace it all with Kenny or whatever. That's generally how I do things. Because it's like I generally don't make the visuals. I just rely on other people. If I'm going to put something out as MIT, just make it like. So we could do the exact same thing really easily. All right. Now we've made that enemy. We wanted to make more enemies. So that's done. So we call this one knife. Enemy knife. Knife. Number 1. And we will project. Okay, see you later, Mr. Forgettable. Enjoy your day, night, whatever it is for you. I want to save scene as. And I'll call this one enemy 2. I don't actually know what it's going to be yet. I have to look through the asset pack. I saw one that was pretty interesting. It's hard to see them. We got a zombie boss, so maybe we can have like a couple of waves and then a boss, and then it will be. Are you live on another platform? Yeah, so I stream on both YouTube and Twitch. Streaming on YouTube, obviously, because I have a lot more people there, so it's more likely to be seen. And also because, right? Like, why wouldn't you? It's basically free. It doesn't take any extra effort on my part because I just use Restream. So I definitely don't have the internet to do dual streaming, that's for sure. Okay. I need to create it. A new sprite. Let's just make it zombie 1. I have to go new. I guess they're mostly going to be the same, so it can go like 124 by 4. No, it's 128, my bad. By 4. And I guess I don't know how high. There's 3, right? Like maybe 4. Okay, 512 again. Let's set up the grid. Ricardo, question on that. Do you pay for the premium plan? I do it in 1080p. They like gave me something. But yes, to answer your question. I don't know if it was because like I don't have a lot of traffic going through it, but yeah. I think if you stream on it like for a couple of weeks, they'll like give you a deal. So that you can try it out. They like suck you in, you know? And they're like, yeah, we'll get him on the recurring. That's how they always do it. Zombie 1. Attack. Oh, okay, that's more frames than I was expecting. let's start with walk. That is 4 frames. Okay, great. How did I copy that? Did I miss the bottom? I did. Okay. I really have a hard time like seeing the animation, but like they come together nicely in the engine, so. Oh man, that's brutal. So that is a 5 framer. So I'm gonna need to expand the number of frames. And how many? This is like a lot of frames. I'll probably skip some. So let's see. He bites it. It's like 2 bites. Right. Is he jumping? Is he? No, he's not moving or anything like that. It's all good. Let's just grab 4 of them for now. Oh, I'm gonna have to pay attention to where I actually copy. Okay, grab the next 4. Okay, a little bit tedious, but it is what it is. Sometimes you've just got to get into the tedium to make it work. There's no other way to go about it. I can't see the grid. It's a little bit off. Okay, drag that one down, and now we've really got. There's a depth set of frames, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A little bit spread out, but that's okay. We can compact it down to something that will work a bit nicer. Sprite layer canvas size. We need to add 128 to the bottom. Actually, I need to add 2 128s. So it's 128 times 6, right? 4 plus 2, 128 times 6. Go like that. Okay, great. I need to see the grid for this to work. 128, 128. Okay, press equal. I really don't want to over select because I'll get it off. Okay, press copy, come back to my sprite set. I copied 5. So I need to take him again. Do. Okay. That one there, and then the final one is down here. I don't know if it's that different. I haven't even got death animations at the moment. They just disappear off the screen, but we'll work on that. We'll make it gory because I think that's going to make it better. Sprite 2. Okay, awesome. Great. Here it is. You can save that. Zombie come out of this and it's zombie 1. Yeah, that's fine. Zombie 1 sheet. Okay. And then we can export as, it could just be a PNG because it is a sprite sheet. Zombie 1 sheet. Great. All right. So we got enemy 2, enemy. This is enemy. And this is enemy 2. I don't know why, but I'm a little bit paranoid about like changing the sprite sheets and all that kind of stuff. Zombie 1 sheet. If I drag that in, enemy 1 stays the same. Okay, good. Now this one we know is only 4 frames wide. Height, I said 6, right? Great. And it's perfect. Okay, it's a little bit offset for that second set of frames. And then that's its dead frame. Okay. Great. Looks great. Okay. So these frames are a little bit off for the animation player. Is this animation player going to get screwed up? Is it like need to be separated? I don't know. We're about to find out. I'm really scared with resources. Okay, so the animation needs to be frame. It's literally the first set of frames, so that's good. Wrong button. Create. It's the same frame. Whoops. I get a bit lost there. Delete that. 2 and 6. Okay. Great. And then shoot. Obviously now this needs to change a little bit. Let's just remove the frames. And the frame that it's going to start on is frame 5, right? Create. It doesn't make any sense for it to move forward. That's the issue. Because we're working in 3D. Does he really move that far forward? I feel like this one here is very clearly forward, but like 4, 5, 6, and 7 should be okay. 5. Oh, see, I've started on 6 and 7. Okay. I've got the wrong frames. That means I have the wrong frames on the walk one as well. 5, 6, 7. Right, okay, that looks a lot better. Right, and that's fine. He can just reset. Walk. This should be frame 0. This should be frame 1, 2, and then 3. That'll look better. Probably make more sense. Yeah. Great. Alrighty. So now the issue that is going to be at hand is how the shooting happens. So right now we've got on the 4th frame, which does it make sense for this one? Kinda. right? Like that's when he bites down. We're spawning a bullet, and the bullet is the thing that does the damage, and it assumes a lot about what the bullet does. Now, if I want to make the enemy work kind of like I do with all of my projects, it needs to be spawning something that can do basically anything. So the enemy is not so concerned about, I don't need to like rewrite the script every time on the enemy script. The enemy does what the enemy does, and when it gets close to something within the specified like range. So for this one, I'm gonna need to, I really should make this an export, right? Max distance. It should be export var max distance. And for this particular dude, it's gonna be like low, right? We want it to be 1. And for this particular enemy, max distance of 4 is fine. To be honest, he could even be further away when he throws his knife. It's gonna be a scaling thing. So how much damage they do is obviously something that you definitely want exported. But then the type of damage that they do is something that we want to be able to customize outside of the script, so we don't have to worry about rewriting it every single time and then having to like make changes and then accidentally getting the wrong thing. It's hard, right? So what we can do is we can jump into and create, we've got a preload here, enemy bullet. But we can just probably create an export, right? For attack. And it's just going to be a pack scene. And that's just going to be whatever we want. And in the case of the first enemy, where enemy bullet is being called, we call attack, right? And then for the attack, we're going to load in the enemy bullet. But that's still not enough, right? Because we have another issue, and that is the shoot function here. Well, it assumes that it's a rigid body. It's getting the direction to the player, and it's applying a central impulse to that thing that we're calling the bullet in the script, which, once again, is making a lot of assumptions about what it should do. Instead, we're better off creating a class for this enemy attack and passing the information about the player, and I mean, that's really it, because we're going global position.direction2, maybe the actual zombie itself. But realistically, that could be the object that you're spawning as well. And then we could do whatever we want after that. So we got bullet attack.instantiate bullet damage.damage. That's fine. We probably don't want to call it something bullet, like enemy attack equals attack.instantiate, and then enemy attack.damage. We're going to add the child. That's fine. We still want to do that. And then this needs to be changed to attack, right? Bullet's not declared. Wait, no, okay. Enemy attack dot bullet point. No, we want it to look like that. That's better. Okay, so we've done that. And then this needs to be, well, this needs to be removed and pushed down into the enemy attack. And so now we can open up this scene. And it's an enemy bullet, and it doesn't really do much, but I'm going to give it a class name called enemy attack. Is it okay for it to be a rigid body? Probably not. We probably don't want to make the enemy bullet what we spawn. We actually want to create an entirely new 3D object, kind of like I have got with my projectiles. That's called enemy attack. And it's going to have a script called enemy attack. Yeah, that's fine. Example world. No, we want objects. Zombies, player, controller, enemy. Enemy attack. Create. And this is also going to have the damage dealing object. Um, and we will write it here, what it does, essentially. Vaccine. And we'll save this enemy attack, save. Class name. Enemy attack. Okay. I could not find vaccine. Did I spell that wrong? There we go. Alright, so it's got a damage object. It also needs to have a damage variable, spelled with a small d. Damage int equals 0. I don't think we need to do anything with the ready or the process. We do need to create a function called enemy attack. Do enemy on enemy attack. So it's going to create. It's going to want to know the enemy, the player, and the damage. Right. That's going to return void. And we'll just type pass in there for now. Okay. And so the enemy is going to instantiate this. It's going to call, it's not even really going to need to do that because we're going to pass that in the function. So we're going to add a child and then we're just going to go enemy attack dot on enemy attack. And it wants the enemy, and it wants the player, and it wants the damage. Right? And then this can all go. All right. So the enemy bullet the way that I'm doing this is that it really just needs to have a damage value and then enter into the area that's on the player. So we just need to give the bullet its information. So on an enemy attack, we can do whatever we want here. And then we can send it on its way. So now I can create a enemy. So that's the base class. To be honest, I probably need to remove that and then change type. And it's going to be an enemy attack. Right. And then I can add a script to it and it's going to be called enemy attack knife. What? It should be enemy attack, right? That's weird. Did I do that wrong? Enemy player damage. And the damage object is going to be the enemy bullet. Okay, and so I just need to spawn that and send it on its way, and then we can do something for the other attack, which will work just fine, I hope. Let's have a look. So basically we're just getting the position of the two the player and the enemy, and we're figuring out the direction, and we're sending an impulse, but we also need to instantiate it and add it as an object. Bullet point apply central impulse. That had to be wrong code, right? Direction. So var damage object. What have I called it in the original? Okay, same. Equals damage object dot instantiate. Enemy dot add dot add child. It doesn't understand that this is an object. So like give it character body. 3D. Make my life a little bit easier. Okay. So the enemy dot add child. It's going to be the damage object. Okay, and then we're going to apply a central impulse to the damage object in the direction. And I also need to give it a damage. I need to pass on the damage. So damage object dot damage equals damage. Okay, so all things considered equal, it should behave as normal now. Okay, no it doesn't. Non-existent function on enemy attack in base self rigid body. Okay, so I still haven't replaced the damage object. Enemy bullet, yeah, okay. No, wait. Put that back. Go to the enemy. And we will add it here, because this is where we need to put it. So what's this? Enemy bullet. So this really needs to become this enemy attack node. It's really not named very well. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, it is spawning, but on the ground. Okay, that's great. That's actually good. I promise. So what we need to do is maybe instead of passing in the enemy, we pass in the bullet point. It's going to cause a few issues, but we'll figure that out. So enemy knife, right? Shoot. Add child enemy attack, and we pass in self, but instead we are going to do bullet point, right? Thomas 1005, yeah, we're doing a pixel FPS. So now, oh, it's gonna crash, never mind, hang on a second. Yes, we are making a pixel FPS for the Zombeez game jam. I should pull it up on screen. I don't think I've shown it yet. It's pretty late into the stream, but we'll do it anyway. Okay, so I'm doing the Zombeez game jam. It's by Fan Studio. It's got 11 days and 9 hours left. Basically, they're giving you a sprite asset pack. And we can make a game with it. We can make any kind of game we want. I don't believe there's a theme, except for zombies, right? Like, that's pretty obvious. So they want shooting, jumping, running, collection of items and bonuses, avoiding or defeating enemies, navigating through various levels with increasing difficulty, and utilizing the weapons and traps strategically. So basically, I mean, that plays right into a pixel FPS wave shooter that I'm making. Okay. So the enemy is passing in the bullet point, but in the enemy attack, I said that this needs to be a character. I should have just made it a node 3D. It doesn't really need to be a character 3D. Okay. These just some suggestions. Feel free to develop whatever you want. Yeah, for sure. Node. Okay, I actually don't think that looks as good as what we had before, but it's fine. It's good enough. I wonder what it changed. Direction to... Nah, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now we've sort of... We add the child and we pass in the bullet point, and that's it. That should all we need to do for the enemy. And so now for the new enemy that we've got here, we are going to spawn in anything we want, really. I need to create a new scene and another node, enemy attack. I really just want to have a separate script. Zombie bite, let's just call it that. And it inherits. Hey, vibing game dev, how are you? So it inherits zombie. Enemy attack. Goosefat27, is he okay? I turned him off my I haven't checked. What's he been saying? Oh yeah, he's been doing like verticals. I turned him off from the restream chat because he was posting. Oh well. Yeah, it was getting in the way of the chat. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't understand what I was saying or looking at. Enemy attack, extends enemy attack, and then we just need to overwrite that one function that we've got on enemy attack. Awesome. Okay, so how are we going to do a zombie bite? It's going to be like the melee strikes that we do for the player, right? So we're going to spawn in a what are they called? A shapecast. So it'll literally be a shapecast. It actually doesn't need to be that complicated because it just needs to be, where's the bullet? On the same layer as enemy damage. Which game jam? It is the Zombeez game jam by Fan Studio. Oh wait, sorry, I wasn't paying attention to chat. I'm doing awesome vibes, and in 2 hours there'll be a games jam that I'm joining. Right, which game jam? Learn you a game jam? I've heard of that one. Who's running that? Collision shape. Wow, it's not happy. That's not how it works, it says. You're supposed to do this. Captain Coda. Do I know that guy? Is he the one with the hats? He is the one with the hats. So I just put him up. I was watching him earlier today. I didn't follow him. I should follow him. Yeah, anyway, I'm out of there. cool dude. He seems like a really nice guy, very knowledgeable. And he was working on a Godot game for the first time, it looked like. So that's nice to see. Cast 2. Vibing is the one. Is this the one that started 2 days ago? Is it 2 weeks? Okay, so I need to focus on this. Alright, so they're gonna spawn a little bit of a hitbox in front of them. So I actually would probably want the bullet point for the second enemy to be in front of its face, like here, right? In fact, I probably want it to be 0, no, because it's a shape cast. This guy's going to get pretty close to you and do his attack. And this can be 0, and it can actually go out this way a little bit for the thingo, and we'll make it smaller. I don't know. We'll see. Might feel a bit unfair. Shapecast 3D. Bite zone. Bite area. I actually don't know what to call it. It just needs to hold damage. That's literally the only variable it needs. To the 1. VR. Wow. Do you have a VR headset? I guess you would if you were considering it. I've never even tried VR before, which is weird. You'd think that I had, but I've never had the opportunity. Okay. So the zombie bite, the bite zone, just has damage just like this does, and it's got on body entered. I don't think this is going to have like a thing, so I might just need to... If you do, you can, but if you don't, you can't. Yeah, how could you, right? Yeah. Call this zombie bite. And this one doesn't really need the player or the enemy. It just needs to pass on the damage to the bite zone, and then the bite zone does the rest. It's going to enter into the damage area of the player, which is layer 15, I believe. Enemy damage. Let's just confirm that on the player so I'm not crazy. Damage detection, layer 15. So if we have something come into that, then we're good to go. Does this collide with areas? Because it is an area. It doesn't need to collide with bodies. Okay, so zombie bite. Literally just needs to go damage object. I need to put in the... Where's the zombie bite? Where's the bit zone? Did they get saved to the area, to like the main folder? Am I blind? It is in the enemy. Oh, okay, I just couldn't see it. Did I have a filter on? Probably. The bit zone. We are in the bit zone. I need to go to zombie bite. We spawn that in, and we will just basically go damage object equals damage object dot instantiate. Ugh, we don't want any of that crap. And then we will go no, we don't even need to do that. We just need to go underscored enemy dot add child. And it's the damage object. And then, to be honest, it's probably going to collide with the other thing straight away. So we want to go damage object dot damage equals damage. Okay. So in theory, that should be all I need for this to work. Now, to give this a little test, the spawner currently just spawns a single enemy, and I'm just going to swap that out with the new one. And then we'll work on a way of creating like multiple enemies, or like choosing an enemy. It's gotten a bit dusty with my lazy bones. I never bothered getting a VR headset because I felt like they'd be too expensive, and if I bought a cheap one I wouldn't get a real experience. So let's see how this guy behaves. I don't think he's going to get close enough to be able to do damage. So he's thinking that he needs to be one away, and I'm guessing that because of the collision shapes he can't get that close. So maybe I need to make it 1.5. Max distance is an int. We need to make it a float. That probably resets everything. Make that 6. And then where's the enemy? Enemy knife, enemy knife. Oh wait, this is really confusing. Make that 6, and then go back to this guy and change him to bite, so I don't get confused when I'm looking at him. And now this is a float. I should be able to make this 1.5 so that it's not so close. And where am I calling max distance? I'm just comparing it to the global position. That's fine. Okay. Easy. Cassie, how are you going today? This evening, I should say. Where? Okay. Let's just go to the one that's on the ground. Okay. Cannot call... Oh, I haven't actually added anything to him. Zombie bite. Makes me wonder if I added the enemy attack. Enemy bullet. No, it should be okay. I am getting confused because he just pushes through all that. Okay. He can attack, but the attack range is too little. How close can I get? There's a bunch of them. Obviously they can't do damage to me because the I'm guessing the physical collision shape. Or zombie bite, enemy 2. He does 50 damage, so he should be able to kill me. Oh my god. Alright. I'm just not inside of it when it spawns, and I don't think I can get to it. Okay, I just need to increase the area. That's fine. Enemy bullet, bite zone. Okay. Let's go target position, make the Z bigger. Hit that run button. There's so many collision shapes on screen. Okay, now I'm definitely colliding with it. There's no doubt about it. They're still not triggering. I might need to make it an area. It's probably going to be easier if it's an area. Hang on, let me think. Maybe it's a layer problem. It's always a layer problem. It masks the collision, but it's not on the collision. So yeah, it's going to need to be an area. Just make it a big square. There's no way that like gets in the way, right? Like you definitely collide with that. and then it just has that. And then the collision just goes, it doesn't mask 15, it goes on 15. And double check the player. Damage detection masks 15. And I actually don't know. I guess we'll find out. Maybe I need to change stuff on the player side. There he is. Okay. It's working. How about some shrimp on the barbie, mate? Zergling, how are you going? You know, we call it prawns here. I don't use the word shrimp except to say that line to people. Chuck another shrimp on the barbie, mate. At least we know the script's being called. Still no damage. I can't trigger it. Are they really? Shrimp and prawns, two different things? You're kidding me. Shrimp versus prawn. It'd be the first I've heard of it. While very similar in appearance, shrimp and prawns are two distinct species. Prawns tend to be larger than shrimp and often taste sweeter. We're about to learn today, yeah. You know, it's really interesting because when I was like a teenager, I worked in a deli and we sold prawns. We never sold shrimp. I think we just call it all prawn. Do you think that's maybe like in protest to that particular line? Is it Crocodile Dundee? We don't use that word at all. We only sold prawns, but they definitely looked kind of like this. Huh. Shrimps are not, and prawns are not the same. Interesting. Dude, they look the same to me. Freshwater, bigger, part of a suborder, mostly found in saltwater, smaller. Yeah, no, we call it all prawns. Oh, we do now. You can blame Crocodile Dundee for that. Okay, I can't get this to trigger, and I don't know why. I'm about to give up because I have to go to work tomorrow. I can't trigger it. Is it just that it's that small? Like, surely this thing is big enough. It's massive. In America, we don't even use the word prawn. We just don't have... I think we just don't have a variety of seafood here, maybe. There's a lot of seafood here. I don't really like it. It's really popular here in Christmas time. Like, we don't have... I don't know what people... Because it's obviously it's summer here, so people are eating prawns. Not me, though. I hate seafood. Wait. Why won't you get bigger? Yeah, okay, that's definitely colliding with me, and I'm just... It's just not triggering, man. What am I doing wrong? On body entered. That's why. I also need to be calling area entered because this is an area. Such an idiot. And I can just funk. Do damage. You know, of the weekly Planet, but I love their hate towards Australian culture. I've not heard of this, so I might have to look it up in a second. The weekly culture. I mean, Australia doesn't have culture. What are they talking about? We're just a mishmash of all the other Western cultures. We're just copying everybody else because by the time we became a country, like newspaper existed, radio existed, and then TV. So like we didn't have a chance to develop our own culture. That's just my theory, at least. Do damage. Body dot damage. Like you can't really claim that like playing cricket and having a barbecue is uniquely Australian. It's just that like the Brits do the exact same thing. They just do it at a different time of the year. Area. I don't need that variable anymore. I'm on autopilot mode. My idea of Australian culture: kangaroos, camping in deserts, and fighting crocodiles. I do none of those things. Making a podcast, they're hilarious. Oh, okay. What's it called? Weekly culture. I like a good podcast. I wonder if I know them. Am I getting that name wrong? Weekly Planet. I mixed up the name, sorry. I don't recognize them. That's crazy. $131,000 followers. That's a lot. I should know them. Oh well, I'll have to add them. That's cool. I guess they talk about movies a lot. Anyway. Cool. All right, let's see. Now I've done all this. It should work. Where is the bad guy? Oh, he's over on the other side of the fence. I'm still not close enough to him. Okay, great. It's working. Do you notice he doesn't do another attack? I'm too close. Okay. It's working. What do Australians do? What is your culture? We don't have one. We don't do anything. We watch TV. We watch the footy. You know? Australian football. It's about the only thing. Maybe I'm wrong about that. There'd be other Australians that would say that we do have culture, but I'm not one of those. I suppose we go to the beach a lot. That might be accurate. I go to the beach a fair bit. But that's just because we live by the beach, right? Like, that's not unique either. Entertainment news and reviews. Nice. I should check it out. I definitely need to add more Australians to like the roster of people I listen to because it's mostly just American stuff. Okay, so this is working. I think the bite zone's a little bit too big now that I've fixed the problem. So I'll make it a bit smaller. The other issue that I'm noticing is that the enemy, when it gets too close, why is it dead? It sort of stops on that frame and doesn't play again. And I don't know why. You're almost describing Florida. Honestly, from what I hear, it seems pretty similar. But then I live in a place that's like on the beach. and it's party. It's a party capital. Like when I was a teenager living in the city, like there was guys getting arrested on top of my car, which is crazy because it was just on one of the main streets. It didn't have a garage. I wish I'd filmed that. It happened too quickly. Okay. I think we are sort of at that point where it's getting very late and I have to go to work. As always, I will say to my people on YouTube, I would appreciate if you jump over to Twitch and give me a follow. It always helps out the channel. I'm very close. According to the stats, I'm at 49 followers. So I'm one away from being able to apply for affiliate, which is great. So if you're out there and you haven't, I would appreciate it. I will be back. It's Wednesday today, right? So I'm going to be back on Saturday night. It's a long one. Maybe I should stream on Thursdays. The problem is I need an editor because I like to edit the videos on every other day, if you know what I mean. So it's a bit hard to do both, but that's just the small bean life. What do we want to listen to on the way out? What else is left? What does this sound like? It's quiet. Dunno. I can't hear it. There it is. Oh, it's very church music-like. Nothing wrong with being from Florida, as long as you don't get arrested and make the news. Okay. As always, I want to thank the Patreons. Chips has a Color Pants, Rab, Big Green, Nike, and Bricky T. So big thank you for you guys on the Patreon. If you ever feel like supporting me, you can do so there. Patreon.com/shaftgames. Essentially, you will get the FPS rig for free, which is normally $5, and the top tiers get my time. So you'll be available to get on call, and we can do a review code. We can talk about your projects, basically. I'll help you make them. Ricky Ricardo is indeed in Florida. Okay. Nice. And that is all. Drugs, blasting loud music on the beach, making friends with alligators. You know, not that different from what I do. So. No problems, fan. I'll see you on desktop, and I muted the mic. Oh my god. What a noob. Alright, guys. I'm out of here. I'll see you next time.